poor and destitute. The god of death, the dread of all, fears Krishna's slight command, yet Krishna fears his mother with a whipping stick in hand. The mercy shown to Yashoda, whose selfless love was pure, surpasses all Brahma, Shiva, or Lakshmi could secure. Ascetics, speculators, or the ordinary man cannot reach God as easily as pure devotees can. So let's discuss this a bit. Here we see these two very unbelievable personalities on full display. First, Yashoda, so absorbed in her care for Krishna that she completely overlooked his divinity so thoroughly it did not even enter into her mind at all. In fact, she and her husband were very concerned about their son's character development. Here he is, just a toddler, and he's already a murderer and a thief. So they're thinking, what's going to become of our son when he grows up? What's he going to turn into? And still, there is only concern for his welfare and only concern for his well-being. And that includes sometimes disciplining the child. It never crossed Yashoda's mind that this is the person who has created everything. Even though the previous chapter here in the 10th canto, she's looking into his mouth and seeing the entire universal form. But this does not register because of her astounding and elevated level of pure love. So this is one of the lessons from this pastime, to see in our own humble way, as we try to serve Krishna every day in whatever capacity we have, and whatever service we have, and whatever situation in life we have, as we try to serve Krishna, the more that service occupies our mind and our intelligence and our time and our lives, the more we come to understand the position of these great devotees such as Yashoda, whose service for Krishna has become absolutely all-encompassing. So that is one side of the equation here. Now, Krishna, on the other hand, is putting his beloved mother in difficulty. He's putting her he's messing up her work. He's crying. He's stressing her out. He leaves a mess for her to clean up. And now she's feeling, I've got to train my son to behave in a proper way. Her neighbors have been complaining. Krishna has been performing various types of mischief. And so she is concerned and wants to let him know that she's the boss. And Krishna, on seeing this side of his mother coming with a stick, is frightened. He's not exerting his divinity either. He's perfectly playing the role of the son, the mischievous son. And so he not only is afraid, but tears start pouring from his eyes. They say great actors can so deeply absorb themselves in a role that they can cry if that's what the character is experiencing. Less competent actors have to do things like chew on an onion or pull a nose hair to create tears artificially. But Krishna's having no problem. These tears just come as automatically as the seasons change. Immediately, he's pouring tears from his eyes. He's frightened. He's panting. The mascara, kajal under his eyes is running down his face. And Yashoda grabs him firmly. So this, in his narration of the 10th canto, every once in a while, Shukadev Goswami will give a little purport. And he does in this chapter. He gives a little philosophical purport. He says that the yogis, those doing austerities, the jnanis, are all trying to understand Krishna, but they cannot capture him. And no matter how fast they can travel, even by the speed of mind. They can't capture Krishna. But here is this simple rural housewife whose love is so all-encompassing that she can capture him. No one else can, but she captures him, and she doesn't let him go. There's not a trace of shanta ras, of awe and reverence in this relationship. Not a whiff. She is holding him, and he is relishing. He is enjoying this position of being not chastised, but threatened and captured by his mother. So now the pastime unfolds, and she's going to bind him up as a punishment. She's going to first make him obliged to stay put, as he would go running off as soon as she lets go otherwise. And so at this point, Krishna is now giving her more trouble. Every time she tries to tie the rope, it's just 2 fingers too short. So she adds on and adds on. I've heard she put 60 feet of rope together, trying to tie Krishna's little waist. But every time it just came up a little short. So we feel like this sometimes too, that we give our all and all to some service, trying to do a good job, and we come up short. We do something wrong. We make a mistake. All of us experience this all the time. And so when this happens, we naturally wonder, because we're not so absorbed in this pure love, why is Krishna doing this to us? Why is Krishna making my path difficult? I'm just trying to serve him, and now there's these obstacles in the way. So the Acharyas explain these 2 fingers represent 2 things: the endeavor of the devotee and the mercy of the Lord. So in any endeavor, in any effort, our full effort needs to be there, our full attempt. And then Krishna can reciprocate with his mercy. Without his mercy, no matter how much we endeavor, we cannot be successful. So this is very important to understand in our spiritual lives, because when we're trying to serve, if we have a certain service we want to do and it's not happening, then there are 2 messages possibly. Krishna is telling us we have to put a little more effort, or Krishna is telling us he wants to do something else. So this can be a very difficult decision to ascertain. Is it because we're not trying enough, or because Krishna's withholding his grace out of a larger plan? Either way, the devotee needs to trust that Krishna is in control. When we get to the point where we're thinking I'm not being successful, then we know this is an ego-driven effort, and Krishna may be humbling us by not allowing us to succeed. In other words, if the feeling we have is discouragement or frustration, something generated by the modes of nature, this is a good sign that Krishna is pushing us in another direction. However, if we're meeting a challenge and we're feeling more inspired, that if we try a little harder, we can be successful, that is a good sign that Krishna is drawing a little bit more out of us to make sure that our endeavor is fully there before his grace is bestowed. Srila Prabhupada is the ideal example of this. He never, as an example of somebody who is fully absorbed in his service to the point of transcending externals, he never deviated an inch from the order of his spiritual master to teach Krishna consciousness in English. Throughout years of frustration or I don't want to say failure, he was successful in his effort, but very little reciprocation from Krishna for years and years in India. And then even for his first year in America, very little reciprocation from Krishna. But he was blissful because he was successful in his endeavor to serve Krishna. And he adjusted. That's another thing. Krishna tests us by saying, can we adjust our approach in some intelligent way to get better results? He tried going here and there and giving lectures, and that wasn't working. So then he tried holding programs in some person's borrowed loft, and then that became unsustainable. But at each step, he made little incremental projects. Mother Irmela was giving a class, and she was talking about a children's reading teacher who had written 800 books, 800 books to help children learn how to read. And each book just introduces a little bit more. So the student feels successful and then goes on to the next book and learns just a little bit more. So very, very gradually. And so it is with our spiritual life, that if we are patient enough, Krishna will give us gradually more and more little clues along the path. And these clues allow us to endeavor confidently, enthusiastically, and proceed in our service, even if it's beyond our present reach. Who was it who said? Great philosopher said, man's reach must exceed his grasp, otherwise what is heaven for? So what we are aspiring for must exceed that which we can do now, otherwise what is our inspiration? What is the meaning and our purpose in our endeavors? So Yashoda's endeavor was so deep and so intense, and yet she was being frustrated at each step. And you notice that her reaction was not negative. She wasn't getting angry. She was laughing, although she was puzzled. Everybody was laughing. And Krishna was making everybody laugh. And also Krishna was showing, although they could not understand it, he was showing who's really the boss. So when her endeavor was consistent, in spite of him making these little challenges, and he saw, okay, she's perspiring, she's giving her all, then he relented. Okay, yes, now you can tie me to this mortar. So Krishna's capture was complete because of his mother's pure love. So we can stop there for some discussion if you like. There's another chapter we can read, so I'm at your service one way or the other. Would you like to discuss any of these points philosophically?
That'll be nice. If you can do a few minutes of discussion, and then we would love to read one more chapter if that's okay with you.
Sure. I'm at your service.
So, is it ever okay to have expectations of success in our endeavors? As in, look, I'm really trying, and you owe me this. Some of it I understand is conditioning, but some of it is also in a twisted way, it's also love. I mean, you expect from people only that you're close to. You don't really expect things, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So do we ever have a right to very advanced devotees, Srivas Prabhu, sometimes have this expression where they kind of put their foot down with Krishna and say, all right, Krishna. I'm thinking of Sanatan Goswami in Vrindavan. You know, he was impoverished. He had nothing but some chapati flour. So he would make for his little deity of Madan Mohan, he would make chapatis every day, just dry chapatis. No butter, just flour and water. So finally, Madan Mohan said to him, could I at least have some salt? And he said, so what can I do? Whatever I have, I'm giving to you. So then, of course, Krishna arranged this salt barge, got stuck in the Jamuna, and the whole pastime of building the temple for Madan Mohan unfolded. The point is that exasperation, if it's in a positive mood, is a very good thing. Say, Krishna, you're bringing me to this point. Okay, I no longer have any sense that I have the ability to do this. I know that if it happens, it will only happen by your grace. And we mouth those words, but the depth of emotion may be lacking. It's really only when we come to that point of exasperation and proceed anyway, and then experience Krishna's reciprocation, that we see the reality. Krishna is doing everything. And Krishna is blessing us by the grace of our Guru. So really the credit all belongs to our Guru. And we say that not just verbally, but from the depth of our heart, we feel this is happening. It's wonderful because of the grace of my Guru and Krishna, and therefore Krishna's grace. We heard Srila Prabhupada very often saying, it is all the grace of my Guru Maharaj. And it might seem like, yes, this is a humble position that we should take, even if one is feeling proud. But the pride that the devotee feels is, I am so fortunate to be associated with such a wonderful spiritual master. I'm so fortunate to be in Krishna consciousness. I am proud of Krishna. I am proud of my Guru. And their mercy is manifesting through me. So it is their credit, not mine. So we have those two opposites, right? Pandit Srivas Prabhu. We might feel frustrated and we might feel proud. So both of those are products of the modes of nature. We should know, though, that devotional service can go on even if we're feeling these things. In the third canto, Lord Kapila Dev has an extensive discussion about the devotional service and the modes of nature. It's still devotional service. It's just still influenced by these modes. It's still transcendental, but it comes out with a certain tint, a certain taint. So, for example, the devotee in the mode of passion feels, I'm the best devotee. The devotee in the mode of ignorance feels like, oh, I can't do it. or Krishna's too hard on me. So.
Connected to.
What's that? Is that a question or inadvertent?
Okay. I think somebody's phone just unmuted. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. So you see my point. This Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. My godbrother used to say, that was not a blessing, that was an order. So if we're finding ourselves frustrated and not happy, then we have to make adjustments. And always trusting that whatever's happening is happening by Krishna's arrangement.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Are there additional questions? If not, then I also have one, but I would I'll give everybody some time to ask some more questions.
Anyone else? No?
Okay. Yes, Kishori Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Quick question on follow-up that like Krishna's mercy comes through Guru, and what Guru desires that we need to fulfill. How we get to know that we're in right track, that we are following Guru's instruction, we are getting empowered. Is there any symptom or something that we're doing right or wrong? How do we understand that?
Yes, if we're happy, if we are inspired, if we're enthusiastic, and yet we feel patient and confident of our success, these are signs that we are pleasing Guru and thus pleasing Krishna. Now, I want to just share something subjectively. I've had the good fortune of spending my whole adult life in Prabhupada's service. And in the early days of ISKCON, Prabhupada was very directly engaging disciples. There was just only one or two layers of intermediate direction. And initially, Prabhupada was very directly engaging everybody. And gradually, he stepped back a bit. So things are different now. And we have very experienced people in life and in devotional service who are sharing Krishna consciousness. We have devotees who don't require as much hands-on direction from their spiritual masters. So the essential connection we have with our spiritual master is the same one that we had with Srila Prabhupada, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles, simple things. When he was very ill, in the last days of his manifest presence, Srila Prabhupada was approached by an Indian gentleman in Vrindavan. And most of Prabhupada's disciples were inexperienced young men, Westerners, and boys and girls. And this man said, he came to him and began speaking in Hindi, not knowing that one of the disciples there also spoke Hindi. So the man was saying, so who's going to take over for you when you're gone? Who's going to lead this movement? And so there was a hint that maybe he was suggesting that he's offering his services as a more experienced person. And Prabhupada wasn't taking the bait. He said, the good follower is the next leader. The one who follows well is the next leader. And then he turned to the man and said, and you can also, but you can also get initiated and chant your rounds, and you can be a good follower too. So our essential contact and our connection with our guru in most cases these days will be our basic initiation vows. And from that point, it is, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, that Krishna in the heart reciprocates with our efforts. You see? So in some cases, we have personal instructions from our spiritual master. In some cases, we don't. For most of us who are Prabhupada disciples, we did not have personal instructions. And even if they were given, they were time-bound. They were time-bound. So we had general instructions, but the foundational connection was to keep our initiation vows. And we do that, we stay on track to go back to God. So if we are doing that, we're already pleasing our spiritual master. And then whatever services we offer above and beyond that, we should look for those things that make us happy and bring us joy, because that's how Krishna directs us. We're coming closer to finding out what our specific, unique role is in creation, in our service to Krishna, because each and every one of us has a different way of pleasing him. So we look for the joy. We're finding joy, we're on the right track. Shushukam kartum avyayam, joyfully perform. And if we're not feeling joy, like Vyasadeva in the first canto, then we have to ask our spiritual master, what is the reason for our depression or our despondency? Is that all right?
Thank you, Prabhu. It's very enlightening.
I'm just guessing you're from Chicago. Am I correct?
My Guru Maharaj gave me name after that, but I'm in Richmond, Kentucky, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay.
Like when he gave me initiating, he told me that you belong to here.
I see. Okay. Kulapati Madhav.
Kulapati Madhav. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
My humble obeisances. Thanks for the class and nice nectar we are hearing, Prabhuji. So I have a very small question, just kind of a follow-up question, very similar to Srivas Prabhuji's, but he was asking for, like, sometimes we might expect results and sometimes might not. But during that process, Prabhuji, sometimes we get attachment with the activity itself. So is it good? Means that activity obviously means devotional activity I'm talking about, but attachment with the devotional activity is good, or how to...
How does that attachment manifest, Prabhu?
With the desire, I think so, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, and internally the desire is there. How about externally?
Externally, maybe. Sorry.
Go ahead. Externally, yeah.
With the activity means there are many reasons. I'm not sure about the exact reason actually.
So my point is, you're doing this service personally, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you enjoy doing it?
Yes.
Does their service ever create anxiety for others?
That answer means I cannot answer that on behalf of others, Prabhu, sometimes.
Not that you know of. I'm bringing up this point because obviously if we're attached to our service, that's a very good sign. And that means we're progressing on our path, you know. And then if our service is involved in helping others be Krishna conscious, that's a good sign of maturity in spiritual life. Starts with bhajana kriya, you know, regulated sadhana, and then nam ruchi, some taste for that process, and then jiva doi, then in trying to share with others. This is a mature and healthy spiritual life. And so the question is, if our service, if our attachment to our service is such that we are in some way creating anxiety for others, and in the name of our service, we allow that to go on, then we're out of sync. That's the only time when we might say that attachment to one's service at the expense of others' services or the others' attitudes or enthusiasm, then that attachment can be product of the modes of passion. Okay? I'm bringing this up because it has happened many times in developing this movement, where the devotee who's leading gets a little bit enthusiastic to the point where how others are really doing is secondary. You see, so there might be pressure to do more than a person can comfortably do. There might be a sense of lack of appreciation. So as we're maturing in our movement, in our sangha, we come to understand that actually the important thing is how we are relating to the other devotees, how precious devotees are. The people are more important than the project. There's never a time when we can say, well, this service is more important than my relationship with this devotee. And so I can make this other devotee upset because this is my service. You see, that's not really well-rounded attachment to our service. In other words, our first service is sadhu sangha. And our first service is to manifest the qualities of a devotee in the association of other devotees. And the association of devotees is so precious. And if we don't have it and we're able to make it, to create it, that's advanced spiritual life. We're able to create our own association. But when we do create our own association, this is something, again, my generation is experiencing more and more. We have to be able to let go of that service that we're attached to, so that others can step up and take those responsibilities. Then we can grow. And this is difficult. I see this in many of my god brothers and god sisters. They've been doing a service a long, long time. And they're at a point in their life where it would be natural to step aside. But because they're so attached to the service, they don't want to step aside. They're afraid of what might lie beyond that, you see. So this is not healthy for our organization. It's one of the many growing pains in our 55-year-old organization. Or 60, it's going on 60 now, isn't it? Soon ISKCON will be on Social Security, I don't know. But you see my point that attachment to one's service has its limitations. This is my main point. It's very good to be attached to our service, provided that we're keeping in harmony with devotees around us, so that there is a cooperative mood. You remember when Krishna played his flute and all the gopis heard it, what did they do? They all came running. And why did they come running? Because they wanted Krishna all for themselves. They wanted to be there first, so they got Krishna all to themselves. And so they all arrived at roughly the same time. And then Krishna stayed with them, and then they were feeling a little proud, and then Krishna left. right? Krishna left them because he did not like the pride in his devotees. So when he left, they all came together. They were enacting Krishna's pastimes. They were talking about him. They were remembering him. They were singing the beautiful song of separation. So at first, they all came for their own purpose. But at the end, they all came collectively. And then Krishna came back. And then Krishna manifested himself. So each and every one of them thought he was dancing with them alone. So when they had their individual desires, Krishna was holding back. When they came together collectively, harmoniously, of one mind in serving Krishna, then Krishna fulfilled all of their desires. So our individual service never can surpass that higher principle of working in a cooperative way to serve Guru and Krishna. Okay, is that all right?
Hare Krishna. Thanks for-
Okay.
That's beautiful. Do we, if you're willing, would you mind if this would be a perfect segue for us to read the chapter on the Gopi Geet, if you so desire?
Yeah, but
okay?
by all means, I'll probably sign off for that, and let you go ahead with the Gopi Gita.
Oh, I was thinking we would just read from your book and then we can
Oh, I
discuss.
see. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I don't have the Gopi Gita queued up.
Okay. Okay, Acharya, then maybe we can do the next chapter that we have available.
Well, I'll tell you, with our remaining time, would you like to do the chapter or the Damodarastakam prayer? Was that part of the agenda this evening?
Yes, we do have the Damodar Ashtakam prayer and the offering of the lambs in the agenda as well.
Okay.
So would you prefer we do that?
If you don't mind, my time is kind of running out.
Okay.
I have a translation of the Damodarastakam that is singable. If you would
let's
like.
do that then.
Okay. So for this, if everybody could mute and sing along. So I'll sing the Sanskrit, and then you sing, and then I'll sing the English, and then you sing. So, well, I won't hear you, but I'll leave time for you to sing. Is that all right? Okay. I don't have room for a harmonium on my desk here. I'm sorry, I have to use a ukulele instead. My apologies. Just think about it as a veena. Okay. Okay. Namam Ishwaram Satchidananta Rupam Vasat Kundalam Gokule Rajamanam. Now you. Yashoda Biyo Yukala Javamanam Param Vrishtamatya Tato Nitya Gopya. After you steal butter, your earrings dance and shine as you flee your mother in Gokula pastimes. Though you are all blissful, all-knowing, never new, greatest of controllers, your mother controls you. Sorry, you have to go back. Yeah, sorry. Rudantam Muhurnetra Vashakam Patire Kantakanta Sita Graiva Damodaram Bhakti Vadam. She shows you the stick and she binds you by the waist. You shudder and sob and your necklace of pearls shakes. Everyone. As you rub your frightened eyes, tears roll down your face. Ropes of her love bind you in your mother's embrace. Iti Drik Swalila Pirananda Kunde Swago Shamni Majantam Akyapayantam. Tati Yeshita Yeshu Bhaktarjitatvam Una Prema Trastam Sutta Vritti Vande. All right, everyone, let's just sing the English together now, okay? So we won't repeat, just sing together. Relishing your childhood activities like this, you plunge your devotees in oceans of deep bliss. Though many revere you, by love you are subdued. Again and again, Lord, I bow down before you. Param Deva Moksham Na Moksham Padimpa Natjanyam Praneham Pareshadapiha. Idam Te Vapurnata Gopala Balam Sutta Me Manasya Virastam Himanyai. Although you give freedom, I don't ask to be free, nor do I want anything you could offer me. I only request that your sweet childhood pastimes ever be enacted in my heart and my mind. Idam te vakambo jamatnyanta nilai Ritam kuntalai snikha raktascha gopya. Idam te vakambo Uhuschum vitam bimbarakatarame Manasya virastam kalam lakshalapai. Curly hair encircles your face of blackish blue. Kisses make your cheeks look like red bimba fruits. May this sublime vision be all that I can see. Any other treasure Kripa Dristi Vishyadi Jinam Batanu Vihane Shamama Gyame Yakshi Krishna. Namo Vishnu, O Lord, beyond compare. Be pleased with the soul song in oceans of despair. Uplift and protect me with glances from your eyes. Shower your compassion like rain falls from the sky. Veratmajo Vadha Murtyai Vayata Maya Muchitao Bhakti Vajo Kritao Bhakta Prema Bhaktim Swakam Priyachcha Namo Kshetra Home Sti Damodare. To some of Kuvera were first to stand as trees. You gave them the chance to become your devotees. My Lord, will you offer that same blessing to me? I don't want to merge with your identity. Namaste Studame Spura Dipti Damne Vadiyodharaya Vishvashadamne. Namo Radhikaya Namo Nandalilaya Devaya Tuvyam. Although in your belly the universe is found, your mother's effulgence rope has your belly bound. I bow to that rope and to Radha, your most dear, and those sublime pastimes in which you appear. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai.
Thank you so much. That was incredible. And that was so beautiful. Please, I would request everybody to unmute themselves and thank His Grace Kalakantha Prabhu by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, let's please unmute. Okay, we can now greet him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Ram Ram.
World.
Thank you so much for your valuable time and your invaluable guidance. This is very, very, very enlightening. It's also very enjoyable. It's very blissful. Please share any other instructions that you have for us and our group, and any other words of encouragement that you would like to share before we end.
So it's so nice to see so many wonderful devotees and coming together for just hearing and chanting. So I don't have much to say other than this experience of Krishna consciousness. This process just gets better and better. So please stay with it. If you have problems, take them to your mentor. There's no need to bury them. If you're having realizations and joy, that's a good sign you're pleasing Krishna. So please carry on. And in my upbringing, I was in the Christian church, and Jesus taught his followers, you have to pick up your cross every day to be a follower. So I never really understood that until Prabhupada gave me Krishna consciousness to explore and to experience. And on the spiritual path, it means, yes, every day we are swimming upstream against the material energy. So please have courage, take heart. It gets better and better as the years go by. And the time you spend now, you'll never regret in the future. You'll always be grateful that you have taken up and stuck to this path of bhakti. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Hare Krishna.
practice.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Nice
Hare